Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here as promised to give you a little bit more of a detailed breakdown, head-to-head comparison between the Sony FE 50mm F1.4 Planar, the Sony Zeiss lens that was the original premium 50mm option on Sony, and then of course the newer Sony FE 50mm F1.2 G Master lens, which is the new top of the heap premium lens. And so I'm going to try to break down the major areas of distinction between these two because there are two different people in the market right now. One of those are those that already own the Planar, like myself, and are wondering if there is some compelling reason to upgrade to the G Master. And then there are those of you that are trying to maybe decide between these two lenses and you own neither of them. And this will give you a little bit of a primer on, maybe how to make a little bit more educated choice about that. Now, I come with a fairly long experience with the Planar lens. I've owned it for about 3 years at this point and used it extensively, used it for weddings, for portraits, a variety of different applications. And then of course the G Master I have been spending a lot of time concentrated recently as a part of my review cycle for it. And so I feel like I can give you, there's definitely differences that have emerged that I will highlight as a part of this, both in functionality, but then also in performance optically. And I'll try to break that down for you here as we proceed. Today's episode is brought to you by Phantom Wallet, the minimalist, modern wallet that sets you free from the bulky traditional wallet while also making it easy to access your cards and money when you need them, thanks to their unique fanning mechanism. Visit phantomwallet.com to check out their unique sizes, styles, and finishes that span from aluminum to wood to carbon fiber. You can even customize your wallet with new accessories like a money clip, cash holder, ID display, and even the Chipolo tracking integration if you're the kind of person who loses their wallet. Use code DUSTIN15 for 15% off when you're ready to check out. So I'm going to start by giving you some reasons that I think the Planar is a better choice. Then we'll move to the G Master towards the end, and with a little bit of a summation as to the compelling reason to choose each one at the very end of it. So first of all, starting with the Planar, the top advantage I would say is of course price difference. The Planar was never a cheap lens, around $1,500, but the G Master is more expensive still at around $2,000. And so while it is cheaper than competitors that are on Canon RF or Nikon Z or Z at this point, certainly it is much more expensive than what the Planar lens is at about $500 different. I actually find the Planar lens to be the more attractive lens if you really care about the aesthetics of lens design. All of the Sony Zeiss lenses, for one thing, there's something that just feels upscale about Zeiss branding because of the Zeiss brand that they have very carefully built. And so the distinctive, kind of Zeiss badging, along with just a kind of cleaner overall aesthetic, the metal focusing ring, those things, make me think that the G Master, which is highly functional, and in my opinion on the G Master lenses, of which I own several, is that they're highly functional, they're fantastic, in terms of performance. But as far as the actual design, I just find them to be a little bit on the busy side. There's a lot going on there, and I find them more workman, professional grade, yes, but workman, than the more pleasing aesthetic of the Planar. That may be a trivial thing to you, but for some people it does matter. So that's one reason to consider that. I mentioned the manual focus ring here, and not only do I like the fact that it's the metal ribs, which obviously are very long-lasting, but when it comes to the feel of the focus ring, unfortunately the G Master lens, it is so lightly damped that there is very little feel to it. Now it's nice and smooth in its rotation, but when you focus the Planar, the damping is just much better. It actually feels more like true manual focus, whereas I find that the G Master doesn't have a lot of feel, and it's so light that it's easy to kind of focus too fast as a byproduct of that. And so I do prefer the feel of the focus ring on the Planar. Now, there isn't really much of a difference between these two lenses in terms of the overall size. They're the exact same length, 108 millimeters, and their weight is within 2 grams of each other. Actually, the Planar at 780 grams is ever so slightly heavier than the GM at 778 grams. But, I mean, a negligible difference you're not really going to feel, obviously. But the Planar is a little bit narrower a lens, just about 3.5 millimeters or so. For some people that may matter. Probably for most of you it doesn't. They use the exact same filter size, which is 72 millimeters. So really not a lot of physical difference between the two lenses in terms of that. And so there are a few reasons to consider the Planar, but I would say that there are also some really compelling reasons to consider the G Master. First of all, of course, is that larger maximum aperture. Now, in certain applications, f1.2 versus f1.4, not a radical difference, but there are some intrinsic advantages that do come with a wider aperture lens. And we'll see a bit of that as we look at a breakdown between the two optically in just a moment. Another thing that I did observe as a part of my initial review of the Planar is that it's not the brightest f1.4. In that when I compared it even to other f1.4 lenses, I found that in some situations its light transmission was not quite as high as some others. And that is really highlighted when I compare these two lenses, in that rather than getting a 1/3 stop luminosity difference between the two, I actually get somewhere between 1/2 and 2/3 stop. And so this is actually the G Master is a brighter lens, even beyond what the aperture difference suggests. The G Master, I believe, has a better weather sealing to it. Now, the Planar lens does have a gasket, though at this point, the gaskets were so thin that it's hard to even feel them. And, Sony did suggest that it is weather and dust sealed. However, I've never been able to find a diagram of how this lens is actually made internally. Whereas with the G Master, it's much more out there. You know exactly where the seal points are. It's got the fluorine coating on the front element. And so I believe that it has the higher grade of weather sealing. Now, the primary difference in terms of performance that I have noted with the Planar and then going to the G Master is that the Planar lens, you can tell that it was designed at a little bit of an earlier point in terms of autofocus performance, and that I don't find that autofocus precision is as good as what later lenses would be to come. And I have noted in real world use some focus misses periodically that are frankly surprising in this day of IAF, and that I tend to expect almost flawless performance, particularly in a portrait type setting. This lens will miss occasionally in my experience, whereas the G Master is pretty much flawless in the IAF performance. And even shooting at f1.2, it just delivers accurately focused results again and again. It has the quad XD motors as opposed to the SSM, I think it's called, focus motor that's in this. Both of them focus quietly and quickly, but the GM's just got that edge. It's got more torque, and that results not only in a bit more speed, but also results in more precision in autofocus. Your mileage, again, may vary with this distinction, but the Planar lens came before Sony was implementing the focus hold button. Now, you may not use the focus hold button at all. You may use it all the time. And so, whether or not you do will make that a distinctive or not. In this case, we've actually got a redundant focus hold button. So we've got it in 2 positions, and so that you have easy access, whether you're shooting in a horizontal or vertical shooting. And so that obviously is advantageous if you use a focus hold button. I'll also note that the quality of the lens hood here is nicer on the G Master. It's just pretty plain plastic here, obviously different shapes. This lens hood is actually deeper, but that tends to be unnecessary on the G Master, which I think has a little bit better flare resistance. But it's a shallower lens hood, but it also has this rubberized transition, which is really nice to have because it means you have a soft touch if you bump against something. Also, it makes it easy to set a lens like this, which a lot of people like to do because that's actually a really stable position. It's much more stable than what this is, obviously. And so that is nice, as is having a lock on the actual lens hood. And so, again, maybe a minor thing to some people, a bigger thing to other people. we're going to dive just for a couple of minutes into an image quality comparison to give you a few more areas of distinction between the two lenses, where they differ, where they really don't. So we'll start by taking a look at the two lenses compared at f1.2 and f1.4. So first of all, again, I want to point out that difference that in the actual brightness of the lens. So you see that to get basically an equivalent exposure, I have 1/400th of a second shutter speed on the f1.2 lens, and I have got a shutter speed of 1/250th of a second. In theory, that actually should be only 1/3 stop apart for the aperture difference, but we can see here that it's actually exposed 2/3 of a stop apart. And so it goes to show just the advantage of the G Master in terms of brightness. Now in the center of the frame, we can see that the two lenses are close. I mean, if we look around this zone in the center of the frame, both of them look obviously really, really good. I do note that there's a little bit of a moire pattern and just a little bit more resolving of fine details on the G Master lens, and so it has just ever so slightly advantage in the center of the frame. In the mid frame, I also think that it looks has a little bit more distinctiveness, a little more acuity to the textures at f1.2 versus f1.4. Down in the corner of the frame, again, just a slight bit of advantage there for the G Master, in that it's just rendering a little bit more different tonality there in the image here. Now, if we stop down to f2 on both lenses, we see that they start to equalize a bit more. I do think in the center of the frame, we've got a little bit more contrast for the G Master lens. And, you know, in the mid frame here, I think that the Planar has essentially caught up. It looks to me like it actually has a little bit better mid frame contrast. And down into the corner, they are more similar than different at this point. Right off to the edge of the frame, I think the G Master holds right out to the edge, maybe a hair more. And if we pop over on this side, I think the same is probably true, but at the same time, there really is not a significant difference between the two. If you didn't have them side by side, you'd probably have a hard time distinguishing the performance here. If you stop on down to f2.8, in some ways it becomes harder still to make a distinction. Again, a little bit more of that moire pattern. So when I start to see that false color, it shows really, really high contrast and detail. I just know this out of familiarity with the sensor of my camera. And so I do see more of that here than what I do on the Planar. So there's a little bit more contrast there. At the center of the frame, or excuse me, the mid frame, both of them are exceptionally good as far as contrast goes in this zone. I mean, one doesn't necessarily look better than the other. If anything, I would say I favor the Planar just a tiny bit. And down here in the corner, they look basically identical. Look at Sir Winston for a moment. Very, very similar. And on this side, you know, they look more similar than different, I would say. If I pop up into this corner, you can see that performance also looks really similar. And both of them show really good centeredness, and overall I would say that the corner performance now probably just slightly favors the Planar. So again, the advantage of the GM is at wide apertures. Now, a more distinct advantage optically for the G Master lens is in close-up performance. And not only does it have a higher magnification, as you can see, but if we go into a pixel level, and I'll give you a little bit more screen here, you can see that the GM is definitely stronger. Not even close here, yeah, even at f1.2 versus f1.4. Sharper, higher contrast of the textures in the center of the frame, and both of them have a fairly flat plane of focus, but the G Master is definitely the sharper of the two. Now, having that wider maximum aperture also translates into having a little bit more bokeh. And you can see it's a little bit softer, a little bit larger. These are not necessarily identical. I did hand hold these shots, but I stood at basically the same spot and tried to achieve a similar result. And so you can just see that there's definitely a difference there. If we stop down to f2, we can see that that advantage remains and that the bokeh circles are basically pretty close to being as big. I'll toggle back for a second. They're almost as big as what the Planar lens shows at f1.4. And so that is a little bit of an advantage there. Both of them give you a nice circular shape across the frame, but you definitely get softer bokeh at f2 than you do on the Planar lens. Now, the final thing we'll examine, which is again very interesting, is the difference when it comes for portrait work. So first of all, just a quick background. This is strobed, flashes right off of camera here, and so I'm using the exact same flash trigger, same settings for it. It's just a matter of difference in the two lenses. So first of all, if we look at f1.2 versus f1.4, I did a blind test with my wife. Of course, she doesn't really know the difference between the lenses as to which she preferred. She chose the G Master result every time in the comparisons I showed her. And for her, the difference is that the skin tones just showed a kind of a better transition. They looked a little bit more natural. And you can see there is some truth to what she says. I'll also note there's a little bit more pop in the contrast, like around the eyes, which seem to sparkle a little bit more. In the hair, there's more contrast there. But if we move away from sharpness and into softness, you can see that larger aperture advantage, and that the bokeh is just softer everywhere that you look. There's less hard edges there. If we jump back to this other side here, you can see that with the planar, there's just more that kind of catches the eye in a negative kind of way, where everything is just softer overall here when you're looking at the GM lens. And you get into more complicated situations like these bare branches, and the GM result is definitely preferable. Now, if we stop down to f2 on both lenses, some of those advantages remain, but they are less pronounced. And so if we look at the actual face, I think that the contrast difference is mostly equalized at this point. And so you see more of that sparkle in the eyes that we on the planar that we saw at f1.2 on the G Master. If we look at the bokeh, obviously now they're both working with the same aperture. However, the larger aperture lens does still hold a little bit of an advantage in that everything is still a little bit softer here. And as we look again into this area here, which is more difficult, there's still just more hard edges that with the planar lens over in this zone. Everything's just a little bit softer with the G Master, and so we can see even stop down, there is still some minor advantage, though you would be hard pressed to see it at anything but a pixel level comparing these two lenses. So again, the optical advantages are largely at wide aperture, not when you stop down. So I think that really the G Master advantage is at that f1.2. It just gives you some very obvious advantages in terms of both performance wide open, but also the softness of the bokeh and the ability to further defocus a background. I think that does stand out from the planar lens. I think the biggest reason to upgrade if you own the planar would be if you are looking for the better autofocus and the brighter aperture as a part of that. And so I guess the question is do you actually shoot wide open? Because if you shoot at f1.4 on the planar, you're going to love shooting even more so at f1.2 on the G Master lens. And that, I think, those are the two primary areas to consider the upgrade to this, or the purchase of this and spending the additional money, is that you do get better wide open performance, and then you also get better autofocus performance. Stop down, as we saw, there's not really much of a difference between these two lenses. They're both exceptionally good. The biggest reason to either hold on to your planar or to consider buying it is, at the end of the day, it's most going to be about saving money. I doubt that the difference in the physical appearance is going to be enough to sway you either way. And so I do think that it is that overall just price point that makes it attractive. And particularly if you shoot at, say, even at f1.8 or f2, there's not going to be much difference between the two lenses in performance. And definitely if you tend to stop down more, you're really not going to see any kind of radical image quality difference. You might see a little bit of autofocus difference, but if you already own the planar and you're happy with the results you're getting, hey, enjoy the lens that you have, because the truth of the matter is it's going to be more than a $500 difference to sell your planar and then to purchase the G Master. And of course, if you're just making a fresh purchase, you can decide whether or not these different areas that I've highlighted are worth an additional $500 to you. At the end of the day, once again, as Sony shooters, we're spoiled for choice. And in this case, even in the premium category, we really have two excellent lenses here to choose from. And I hope that this little video has helped you to make a more more informed decision about which of these two lenses best suits your own individual needs. I'm Dustin Abbott, and if you look in the description down below, you can find linkage to my full review of either of these lenses. There's also linkage there to purchase either one of them, and beyond that, there's a linkage to follow me on social media, to become a patron, sign up for my newsletter, and of course, if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and let the light in.